Tonight, I speak not just about a problem, but an actual fight. A fight that the Jewish community did not choose. From our founding, Stop Antisemitism has operated on one guiding belief. Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences, a lot of them. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything, our work will always be documented.
Well, that psychopath, in my opinion, that we just heard from, Liora Rez, is the woman behind StopAntisemitism.com. You know, the organization that defamed and smeared the likes of Miss Rachel as an anti-Semite in order to bully her into silence about all the children that have been slaughtered and maimed in Gaza. Yeah, that's the Rez I'm talking about. So her organization is ruining people's lives, and she knows it and she loves it. And of course, it's nothing to do with actual anti-Semitism or hatred against Jewish individuals. This is really about anyone who is critical of a foreign country. And she has even evaded getting served by individuals who want to sue her for defamation. She probably doesn't want to go through that discovery process. But Cenk, what are your 2 cents?
Yeah, I thought it was a startling confession. And so, look, if you're Jewish, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. So she doesn't actually try to find anti-Semites. She tries to find people who are opposed to Israel. And that's why she's in Israel, got the Israeli flag, and she's reporting for duty. She's saying, I have tasked myself, and by the way, some donors, including Miriam Adelson, has also tasked her with it because they fund her, with destroying opponents of Israel in America. And then she explains the blueprint for how they do that. And she talks about lifelong consequences we have to put on people for opposing Israel. And so, and now they're not targeting just average Americans as well. We shared a story with you guys that we broke. A friend of mine that runs a company, and they started getting emails saying that your employee, a random American, has showed support for Palestine in social media. You should fire her. So they're trying to, and she brags in this clip about how they've targeted thousands of Americans for basically political and career destruction so that Israel can have no critics in America. Well, if you're gonna do this, you're walking right into a trope. So don't tell me you're not doing the trope, because that's exactly what you're doing and bragging about. And Anna, I think we got to the point where they're now doing open-handed slaps. They think that they're above the law and there's gonna be no consequences. So they're just telling us how they're oppressing us.
So if you can remember, Stop Antisemitism named 10 candidates for this year's Anti-Semite of the Year. And that list included Tucker Carlson, Miss Rachel, actress Marcia Cross. Cenk and I are on there, so is Cynthia Nixon. Just an absolute and utter joke. Now, sadly, we didn't make it to the top 3, but Tucker Carlson and 2 individuals, I'm not familiar with Bryce Mitchell at all. Stu Peters, I've seen some of his tweets, but I'm not too familiar with his work either. But I am familiar with Tucker Carlson's work, and he is definitely not an anti-Semite, but a pretty harsh critic of the Israeli government. But regardless, she does make a living off of ruining people's lives, and she absolutely loves that she's able to do that. And she made it crystal clear at a gala hosted by the Jerusalem Post in Washington, D.C. just yesterday, that this is what she intends to do, and she'll continue doing it. Take a look.
For years, we exposed hate, pressured institutions, and delivered consequences. But after 10/7, the scale of threat and the urgency of our mission changed dramatically overnight. Since that day, we have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. The results speak for themselves. Approximately 400 of these Jew haters have faced real consequences, including firings, suspensions, and expulsions. This is what accountability looks like. This is what action looks like. This is what pushing back hard looks like against the tidal wave of hate that has consumed the United States and global population.
You listed Miss Rachel as an anti-Semite. because she loves all children, including Palestinian children. Like, it gets her so angry that Miss Rachel would have the audacity to give a damn about Palestinian kids, toddlers in many cases, that she would feature them in her content. No, Rez is evil. She's an evil person who makes a living off of ruining people's lives, and she's boastful about it. Let's go to the graphic featuring Casey Kennedy. Casey Kennedy is one of the individuals who runs the, the account that holds politicians accountable if they're taking money from AIPAC. So here we are. So update, I got fired from my corporate job of 8 years for speaking out against an ongoing genocide. And then he's quote tweeting StopAntisemitism's account where they're targeting him. Casey Kennedy, the man who bashes AIPAC and vilifies anyone working with the Jewish group. No. It is not a Jewish group. Let's be clear about that, because there's plenty of Christian Zionists who are also attached to AIPAC. Okay, Mike Huckabee is not a Jew. Mike Huckabee, the US ambassador to Israel, is allegedly a Christian, okay? And so to say that this is about the Jews is disgusting, ridiculous, and an obvious and intentional conflation. But yeah, he got fired because he was a target of StopAntisemitism. Now, it's amazing to me how much they love defaming and destroying people's lives because they're critical of a foreign country in the United States, where we should have the freedom of expression and shouldn't be harassed and bullied by these thugs. That's what I believe Rez is. She is a thug that doesn't give a damn about this country or the people in it. Neither does Adam Milstein, the person funding her disgusting organization. Go live in Israel. Why are you living here? Why should we be slaves to a foreign country? And if she thinks that she's gonna intimidate people like us, she's got another thing coming. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, well, she tells you why she's living here, because she's basically an agent inside the country.
She absolutely is.
Trying to destroy all critics of Israel on behalf of Israel. And the only way to do that is to be here. So I don't know that she's technically an Israeli asset or agent, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the Adelson family loved Jonathan Pollard, the traitor who betrayed us, so much that they flew him out on a private jet back to Israel when he was pardoned by Trump. So, and they fund her activities, and so AIPAC doesn't represent all Jews. In fact, AIPAC attacks Jewish Americans pretty regularly. They attacked Andy Levin, spent $4 million against him. And why did they attack Levin from, again, a kind of a legendary Jewish American political family in Michigan? Because he dared to say that the Palestinians should exist, that there should be two states. Obviously, he's not against Israel. In fact, he calls himself a Zionist, and they're like, it doesn't matter, not good enough. We don't care that you're Jewish. We're gonna bash the crap out of you, and we're gonna make sure that we end your career because you're not serving Israel loyally enough. Now, look, don't go in the anti-Semitic direction because you see Andy Levin there being a true American and saying, hey, I love Israel, but I think the right thing to do is to have Israel and Palestinians be both be independent and safe states. But people working for Israel in this country, the pro-Israel thugs, they don't care about Jewish Americans. In fact, a group that was similar to this, that was formed in the 80s and 90s, had put together a list of 8,000 Jewish Americans they were gonna target. And they called it the other word for crap list, and it starts with self-hating, et cetera, et cetera. So they try to ruin anyone's life who's not pro-Israel. She was surrounded by Israeli flags in that speech in Washington. She mentioned Israel several times in that speech, so she's not hiding. She's doing it for Israel. This has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. And so do these thugs exist, and do they try to ruin the careers and the lives of especially anyone working in media who would defy Israel? Yes, they do. And so that leads me to ask this final question. Should we make a list?
No, please no.
No, hold on. Should we make a list of pro-Israel thugs?
No, we should not do that.
Hold on, Anna, hold on. Let me finish. Pro-Israel thugs in this country, and track them and try to ruin their careers and their lives. Now that made you uncomfortable, right? It made Anna so uncomfortable, she tried to interject in the middle. Am I in favor of that list? No, I'm not. But if you got uncomfortable as I was saying that, well, that's how we feel. And that's how all Americans feel when someone says, I'm going to make a list of people to eliminate in America for Israel. If you can't see that that actually drives anti-Semitism, you're being purposely blind. You're saying, oh, we get to destroy people for Israel. But I don't think anybody will hate us for that. I think everybody will be great. And by the way, they won't conflate Israel and Jews. We tell them every day, do not conflate Israel and Jews. And people like Rez, people who support Israel, 24/7 say, conflate, conflate, conflate. If they criticize Israel, pretend that they hate Jews. But if you do that enough times, it might actually happen. People might start hating Jews because you kept telling them it was the Jews who did it. But it's not Jewish American, guys. Do not listen to Rez and start hating people based on their race or religion. People like her, these pro-Israel thugs in this country, are a cancer in our media and our politics. But we have to be specific about who the bad guys are. And we're not like them. We're not trying to ruin anyone's life. All we're saying is that person works for Israel, that you should never, ever listen to them, and stop firing people on behalf of a foreign country. If they keep doing this, they're gonna rile up a beast we cannot control. They keep just poking the bear and saying, I'm the boss of you, I'm the boss of you. You criticize me, I'll ruin you, you stupid Americans. Give me the money, they say. And now they want another 20-year memorandum of understanding where they take another $80 billion off of us after they already took $300 billion from us. It didn't go to Jewish Americans. It went to a foreign country called Israel. And so I think that they're on a disastrous path. And if you have any sense at all, even if you love Israel, are you crazy? You've got to get people like this to stop because they're awakening a terrible sleeping giant. Please turn around.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.